welcome. I am your host, Kimberly Lovey. I am a wife, a mother of two. I'm a businesswoman, a brand builder, blogger, and podcaster. I'm here to connect with women just like me who want to optimize their life while looking and feeling our best. Together, we will remove limiting beliefs and dream to become our highest and best version of ourselves. We will explore both mental and physical aspects of self improvement while forming a community, a sisterhood. Before we dive in, please subscribe to my podcast and give me 5 stars. We haven't spoken a while, and today I'm going to do a roundup of some of my quarantine kid-friendly tips that hopefully are really unique and new, and not something that you've heard before, because I kind of just made up a lot of this stuff. So here we are. All right. The reason why I'm sharing this is because it's looking like our kids may or may not be going back to school. Seems like not is more likely for a while. So I figured, you know what? Let's go deep on this topic. So I'm going to hit you guys with my first, most interesting and exciting idea. I got so excited about this last night that I actually made 2 of my girlfriends FaceTime with me and get their thoughts, and they were pretty excited about it too. And so I basically came up with this idea of a quarantine playgroup, where there are very specific parameters, because obviously we need things to be safe and quarantine friendly and all of that. And so I documented it and got a Google sheet together and everything. So I'm going to walk you guys through it. So basically what it is it's a once a week play group, because what we've noticed is that our kids are just bouncing off the walls and getting really sick of each other. Or a lot of my friends have only one child, and the parents are struggling to keep them busy, as we all know, but they're just really lacking that social interaction. And considering school's probably going to be remote for the fall, I figured we need to come up with something that allows our kids to socialize. And we really can't depend on the schools to do that for us, because they're under strict lockdown and guidelines as well. So we are taking matters into our own hands, you guys. We are going to get creative. So here's the idea. Every single family that signs up will host once a week. It's a once a week play group. And so basically the parameters are the following. The host will select the location. So it must be outdoors. That is the first most important thing. It must be outdoors. The group should be limited to less than 10 people, even smaller where possible. And so it can be outside in your backyard or at a park. And if it's in your backyard, you would have folks enter through the back gate. And then you need every single person that is taking part that day. They have to get their temperature checked. If anyone has a temperature of 99.9 or above, it should be flagged and they need to go home. Or you can pick the temperature. You can do your research and figure out what is that threshold for you guys. Each adult must wear a mask the entire time. It is limited to 1 hour. And you must show up 15 minutes early to get set up. Each child brings their own snack and water. And I think this is important because, especially when you think of hosting something, you usually are hosting with food. So we don't want to get into the risk of sharing any kind of food or having the stress of anyone having to provide food for people. So that's why I thought it was best for each child to bring their own snack and water. And actually on this point, I recommend that you pack a lunchbox for your child and put it in their backpack along with their water and any other supplies, so that they can get to wear their backpack. Because if your kids are anything like mine, they're stoked to wear their backpack. So it's a really fun thing that they can look forward to and get to pack up their bag and use their backpack. And then each child brings their own supplies. So I was thinking, so this is a social distanced kind of a thing. So everything should be 6 feet apart. And so a few ways of doing that is, you can measure it out. And I was thinking, like, when I host in my backyard, I was going to get spray paint that like washes off and just basically measure out, say we have 6 kids, I would just basically draw like a grid, and then each child can bring their own blanket, and then they're in their designated spot. So that way everyone stays in their little respective little grid or pod area. And then if it's an activity that requires an adult, the adult can go into the grid with the child as well. And so some different ideas that the kids can do are yoga, for example. So one of the moms would go up and like teach a yoga class and do some stretching. And again, all of the kids are in their own respective pods. They have all of their own, supplies. And you could do a watercolor. You could do a freeze dance. You could do a language thing. And another way to kind of keep your kids in one little area is by getting a hula hoop and keeping them there. But I think if your kids are bigger, that might be too limiting of a space. So, yeah, I mean, this way people can actually like interact and see each other. And I think there's a few key roles that should be a part of this. So one role should be that one designated person should be the temperature taker, and they should always be the one with the thermometer. It should always be the same thermometer. And so you would have that 1 or 2 people that are volunteering for that position. The second role that you have to have, or that I would recommend you have, is a timekeeper. And so the reason why this one's important is because, part of the risk here is getting your kids together and then all of a sudden it becomes a 3-hour play date of all these kids mixing, and that's really not the intention. It really needs to be like mindful in order for it to be safe. So what I was thinking we would do is we would have a timekeeper, a designated timekeeper for each play date. And so the timekeeper is responsible to make sure that you start on time. They would give the host or the activity leader like a 30-minute warning that, okay, we're midway through, guys. And then they would call it at the end and make sure everybody wraps up and that it ends in a timely fashion. And so, yeah, this is a way that I thought, a couple of families could get together if they're comfortable. Obviously, if you've traveled, you should not be a part of a play group of any kind. But this was just an idea that I thought would be so much fun, so exciting. And all of the other moms in our area were excited. And so what I did was I sent out an email and have a Google sign-up sheet so that everyone can kind of pick their week. And so I was thinking of picking one day a week, the same day, same time, so that people that are working can carve out their schedule and make sure that they can block out their calendar and attend with their children. All right. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. Is that something you would do? Why or why not? Let me know. One of our friends lives in an apartment. And for that friend, I would say host it at sorry, I'm losing my words. Host that at a park. You could change the location. I kind of was going back and forth on this. Well, should we keep it at the same park, the same time every week, just so that it's easy? Or should we mix it up and allow people to host it at their homes and their backyards? I think there's pros and cons to each approach. But the mixing it up idea, it's kind of nice because you get a change of scenery and it's kind of an exciting adventure with you and your child. But the stability of having it in the same location makes for a predictable environment. And, it's something that my parents are actually doing with all their friends. So every Saturday night, I think at like 7, they all get together and do a social distance dinner. And they basically bring their own lawn chairs to a park. They're all 6 feet apart. To the point where my mom said you really can't talk to anyone unless they're like kind of very, within your immediate seating arrangement, I guess. And they bring their own dinner and they socialize. I mean, these are people that are all high risk and probably over the age of 60 and above. And they love it. Like it's a way for them to socialize safely. And so that's kind of what brought on this idea. And so that's an example of if you keep your same location, standing day and time, sometimes that helps. And another thing, if you are going to do that, what you could do is actually brainstorm a list of different activities, have that listed and then have people sign up for each of the activities. The only other thing you might want to consider doing is, say that you are doing like an arts and crafts project and you need kids to bring, paints or crayons or anything like that, that you would have to, as the host that week, one of your responsibilities is to make sure that you're sending out the list of supplies needed well in advance. And then as a faithful and good participant, I said that you need to RSVP within 3 days or cancel within 3 days, because that will impact, the setup and things like that. So there you go. That is my amazing social distancing idea for you and your children. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Pros, cons. I know there's a lot to think about, but I just was so excited and thought it was such a cool idea. And I'm sure you guys could enhance it even further. Okay, so the next thing we're doing, which is really cool, and I cannot take credit for it. Our old nanny had bought the system, but it's called Learning Dynamics, and basically it's a system to get your child to start not only learning their alphabet, but to get them reading in 4 weeks, is what they promise. And so what it is you basically introduce a new letter every session, and each session, the frequency is that you meet 3 times a week with your kids. It takes us about 15, maybe 20 minutes maximum each session, but it's only 3 times a week. It's pretty short, and it's really fun. And so what you do is they give you all the different supplies. I can link this on my Instagram or Facebook if you guys are interested in seeing the actual system. But what we've been doing is we've been doing the system. You introduce the letter. So for example, I think the first letter is the letter M for whatever reason, like M as in Mary. And you introduce the letter, and then you listen to an alphabet song, and it's all phonics based. So it's all about teaching your children not only what the letter name is and what it looks like, but what sound does it make. And so they're really focusing on the phonics, that sound. So M, mommy, and like things like that. And so they listen to the alphabet song, which is not your traditional alphabet song. It's an alphabet song that basically focuses on which sound each letter makes. It's very sweet and nice to listen to. And then what happens is you show them the big M and the little m and what it looks like. And then you give examples of different words and ask them to give you examples of words that start with that letter. And then you tell a short story. And this is all provided to you. And it's really short. It's probably, 4 to 5 sentences, the story. And it's very much, alliteration, where you keep repeating the noise or the whatever sound of the day is. And then you listen to another song, which is the song on that letter specifically. So, the letter M song. And again, it's all around like different objects and words that start with M, and just repeating and re-emphasizing the sound that letter makes. And, the kids are repeating, they're engaged, and you're pointing to pictures that correspond with what pictures are in your workbook that they give you. And then you get out a worksheet, and the worksheet has the letter, the capital and lowercase letter that they can trace. And then it'll have like 4 or 5 pictures of words that start with the letter M, or that letter of the day. And then they'll throw in one word or picture of something that does not fit. Like, for example, they would have mice, they would have a music note, they would have, something else with an M, and then they would have like a pumpkin. And so I say to the kids, here's your worksheet. Here are a bunch of objects that start with the letter M. However, there is one picture here that does not start with the letter M. So let's cross that one out. Let's go through. And so I'd point to the mouse, music note, pumpkin. And then they'd be like, and then they usually call it out. That doesn't, but if they don't know, you say, pumpkin. Does that sound like it starts with the letter M? No. And then I say, let's make an X. And so you cross that one out. And then, and I help my daughter who's 3, I help her cross it out because she can't really make an X that easily. And then you color in all of the other objects that do fit in. And for us, we just bought one of the systems, and then I make photocopies of the workbook because I have 2 kids and that's really the only way for us to do it. And then after we do the worksheet and the tracing, you listen to the song, the letter song, one more time. It's the exact same song. You can listen to it on a CD or they have it online. And I just play it off of my laptop. I just Google and Learning Dynamics, and we go there and listen to it. I think it's free, actually. That part of it is free. You can just look that up, but you need the whole system anyway. And then at the end, you review any past letters that you recently learned, and it prompts you. It says, remind them of the letters A, H, and F or something. And so you just pull up these blue cards and pictures of the letters and go through that really quickly. And then after about 10 letters or 10 sessions, they get into a new video, which is around word combining. And this is where they finally, like, they get to start to read, like in the second or third week. And so there's a video on that same website that you go to. And this woman talks about, okay, we're going to combine these letters. Let's turn on our motors. And then you like turn on your mouth and she'll say that it's like, had, for example, HAD, had. She'll say, okay. And she points to the H, the A, and then the D, and you sound it out. So it's H sounds like what? The kids are saying. And then A, this letter's A. What noise does that make? Ah, ah, ah. Good. And then how about the letter D? And then they'll be like D, duh, duh, duh. And then we say, okay, turn on our motors. And we have the word kind of held up and we say, had. And then we say, good. Now say it faster. Had. And then, so they're basically sounding it out. And then you get them to kind of see how the noises come together to form the word. And it's kind of rough the first few times, but you see it click for them. And it's actually really cute and funny. Like, it's so cute when I see Carter really trying to focus and he'll be like, sad. Sada, Sada. And I'll be like, good. Turn on your motor, combine them. Sada, Sada. And it's like, okay, turn on your motor, sad. Now faster, sad. And then you see them like light up and realize, and then I say, good job. You just read a word. And then they have these little books that you can start practicing like sight words. And it's really basic, really, really basic, but it's just these concepts. And, getting to teach your kids is so much fun. Like, I've never had an experience like this, but I have to say it's been really fun and the kids love it. And anytime they don't dread it, or every time they don't want to do it and they dread it, I like remind them of what they're getting out of it, which is, you guys are going to get to read to mommy pretty soon if you guys learn to read, or you can sit in your room and read your own books before nap time. And I just kind of like motivate them that way because, it's exciting for them to think that they can read. And you can also bribe them. That always works if they want a good snack, like some kind of granola bar or something after the lesson. They get it only if they behave and do a good job. So yeah, that's been amazing. Learning Dynamics is what the system is called. It is all phonics based and it's fantastic. My kids are, Charlotte just turned 3 and she started when she was like 2, the last couple of weeks of her being 2. So she just turned 3 and then Carter is 4 years old. So for him, the review of the actual letters, he kind of knows all the letters. He's better at tracing and things like that. But just the combining, he's ready for it. And Charlotte is too, which is just amazing. Okay, so that is my second hot tip. Now my third one is around movie night. So something we've been doing is creating movie night. Again, the kids have to earn it. And it's great because it's leverage for you as a mom or dad to say, well, if you guys want movie night tonight, then I need to make sure that you behave or that you listen or that you go to nap time, without a struggle, and so you basically leverage it. And what we do is, so the kids have sleeping bags. We got ours from Pottery Barn. They are, it's so cute. They're engraved with their names. It was a small fortune for a sleeping bag, but it was a great investment. And so Carter has like a boy superhero one, and it's dark blue and it has his name in red. And then Charlotte has a girl superhero one, and hers has her name in purple handwriting, and it's stitched in each of their sleeping bags, and the kids love their sleeping bags. We originally got it for school because their school does what they call Fantastic Fridays, and it's like once a month the parents go out to dinner and the kids get dropped off at school, and they do like a movie night and a pizza night and glow stick parties and fun things like that. This is pre-quarantine, of course. So we had purchased the sleeping bags for those, and we needed their names on so that we didn't lose their sleeping bags. That's why we kind of ended up doing that. But anyway, here we are using it in quarantine. And so, yeah, so we basically let the kids get out their sleeping bags, they unroll them, and then I get we have these really small bowls and I fill them with popcorn. Trader Joe's has like an organic movie night or movie theater type popcorn. And I fill up their bowls of popcorn and let them eat it while watching TV, which keep in mind, I am very strict at my house that the kids are not allowed to walk around with food. They are not allowed to step outside of the kitchen with food, but only for movie night when I give them this little bowl of popcorn do they get to eat in the family room. And so they love that. So they have their little waters and their little popcorn. We also have another thing you can do is, again, at Trader Joe's, they have the little mini individually packed kettle corn bags. It's like blue and white stripe, I think, or blue and cream striped. And so what I do is I'll open one of those popcorn bags and split it between the two bowls. And so, yeah, it's not a lot of popcorn, but the kids love it. And then we do the movies anywhere, I think, and there's a way to do it like a family version. So basically, um, it edits out. I can't say that. Anything that's not appropriate for the kids. Brian's able to do it so that the kids can watch Avengers and they cut out all of the things that are not appropriate for a 3 or 4 year old. It's really cool. It's like a setting on Movies Anywhere if you go into your apps on your TV. Really amazing. If you guys have questions about that, just hit me up and I'll tell you more about how to do that. So yeah, that is our movie night. And then the other thing we do, so sleepovers. This is really fun. So we had purchased trundle beds when our kids transitioned from their cribs to their actual double beds, or sorry, twin beds. And so we purchased those during Black Friday from Pottery Barn. And so each child has a trundle underneath their bed so that if they want to do a quote unquote slumber party or trundle night, as they've called it, we can pull out the trundle from whoever's room they pick, and the other one can sleep in the trundle while the other one sleeps in the bed, and they do like a sleepover and they love it. And you can do this with an air mattress, or again, just use sleeping bags, or just create your own, like have one of them sleep on the floor if they don't care. But yeah, we invested in little trundle beds and like twin size. And that's another really fun activity for like brother, sister, or like cousins, to do that. And they love it. And again, they can only do it if they behave. It's only on the weekends, Friday or Saturday night. And then finally, if you have grandparents nearby and your family feels safe and is under hardcore enough quarantine, you can have your kids do a sleepover at the grandparents' house. That one seems kind of obvious, but I don't think people are really doing it. I think we just kind of forget some of the obvious stuff. So, not that it's rocket science, but it's a really great way for the parents to get a break for a night. And, you can do like an at home date night, just you guys. And the kids just love it. And, if you're going to do it, like plan it and then build it up so that they get really excited for it. And again, it's always leverage. Like if you want to sleep over at your grandma's house, I'm going to need to see really good behavior and things like that. So yeah, I think those are really my handful of tips that I've got for you guys that we've been doing that have been fantastic for us. So again, the first one is the play group, figuring out a handful of families that want to do it. But if you're going to do it, I highly recommend that you have very strict parameters and you stick to them for safety. The second one is doing kind of fun at home schooling. So through the Learning Dynamics program, which is a phonics-based reading tool. And then the third one is at-home movie night. The fourth one is slumber party night or trundle night at home, or slash you can do it at a grandparent's house. So those are my hot tips. That's something that we've been doing. I'd love to hear more about some of your tips and things that you love doing. We've also finally started heating our pool. We go to the park and ride our bike, but we don't do anything on the playground because obviously the playgrounds are closed. So we've been doing some, picnics at the park when it's not 110 degrees here. And yeah, that's been kind of our jam lately. So I'd love to hear more from you guys. Tell me what you think about kind of my recommendations and if you plan on doing them, or if you have any questions on anything I said, please hit me up. Next week, I will have my first interview. I am so excited about that one. It is going to be with my father. It will be my very first interview ever. We were going to record it, but I had some technical difficulties, so we're going to work through that. No problem. But he is going to come like jam-packed with wisdom. So please bring your notepad to that session. We're super excited. We're preparing a ton. He's my mentor, and he's full of wisdom, and he's just been an incredible guiding light in my life, and I cannot wait to share some of his tips with you guys. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are hanging in there. I wish you all well, and I hope to chat with you all soon. Thank you, and bye-bye. Mwah.